Alright, let's get right into it. Today we're talking about Mark Manson's The Subtle Art of Not Giving a Fuck. And this is a book that basically takes everything you think you know about happiness and just flips it completely upside down. It's a totally different, way more real approach to living a good life. I mean, does this sound familiar to you? You're scrolling through social media, seeing all these perfect happy lives. And there's this constant nagging voice telling you to just stay positive. Well, the book argues that this very pressure, that's a huge part of what's making us all so anxious. And that brings us to this idea, the central paradox of the philosophy and what's called the backwards law. Think about it. The more you desperately chase feeling good, the more you end up feeling bad because you're so focused on what you lack. It's a total mental trap. And realizing that, that's the first step out. So, let's really dive into that trap for a minute. This first part is all about what Manson calls the toxic positivity trap. We're gonna look at how our culture's obsession with being happy all the time can actually backfire, make us feel way worse about having completely normal human feelings. Okay, so this is what Manson calls the feedback loop from hell. And it's brilliant. It goes like this. First, you feel a little anxious. Normal, right? But then you start feeling anxious about being anxious. You're judging yourself for it. And that just piles on even more anxiety. Well, you just accept that first feeling. That's it. It's so counterintuitive, but accepting a negative feeling is a positive action. And this is a really crucial point. This book is not about being indifferent. Indifference is lazy. It's not caring about anything. Not giving a fuck in the Manson sense means you choose what to care about. You decide what's worth your energy, and you become okay with letting everything else just go. It's about being strategic with your attention. A perfect example of this is the way he chose Bukowski. By all accounts, he was kind of a mess, a gambler, a drunk, and he totally owned it. He accepted himself as a failure. Because he didn't give a hoot about failing, he was free. He wasn't afraid. That freedom allowed him to eventually become incredibly successful. His tombstone even says, "Don't try." So now that we see the trap of trying to be positive all the time, let's tackle the next big idea. This one's a huge myth that almost always believe. That happiness is some kind of finish line, a destination you'll get to. But as you're about to see, that's not how it works at all. The book just reframes the whole concept of happiness. It's not a life with all problems. Come on, life is always gonna have problems. Real happiness is the feeling you get from solving them. Problems never go away, they just change. You either solve one and move to the next, or you'll upgrade to better problems. So if life is about solving problems, you need to be solving good ones. To do that, you have to get rid of what Manson bluntly calls shitty values. And it makes sense, right? Chasing constant pleasure, or needing more stuff, or having to be right all the time. Those are terrible goals. They're shallow, they don't last, and a lot of the time they're not even in our control. Which leads to a way more powerful question. Instead of asking what do I want out of life, ask yourself this. What pain am I willing to sustain? Because at any goal worth having comes with a struggle. The secret isn't avoiding problems, it's finding the problem you actually want to solve. Okay, this next idea, it might sting a little bit at first, but stick with me, because it's actually one of the most freeing concepts in the book, embracing the power of being average. Think about it. We're constantly told that we're all special, that we're all destined for greatness, but that just makes us entitled. It makes us feel like we deserve incredible things without putting in the work, and it makes a normal, pretty good life feel like a total failure. And here's the kicker. The people who are actually extraordinary, they rarely think of themselves that way. They're just obsessed with getting a little bit better every single day. They're focused on the process of improvement, not on some belief that they're already great. And that's what actually leads to greatness. And now we just wait into our next myth to bust. Once you let go of that need to be exceptional, you can start to have a different relationship with failure. Most of us run from it. We're terrified of it. But the book asks, what if failure isn't the enemy? What if it's actually your friend? The book makes this argument that getting good at anything is just a numbers game based on failure. You'll see someone who's amazing at something, it's probably because they failed it way more times than you even tried. Pain and failure, they're just part of the process of getting better. And this right here is such a powerful distinction. Faulty is about the past. It's done. Responsibility is about right now. It's about what you choose to do. Something bad might happen that isn't your fault, but you are always responsible for how you respond. That is where all your power is. Okay, so we have torn down some major myths about positivity, about happiness, about failure. So what do we do with all this? Let's bring it all home. This final part is about turning these ideas into a real philosophy, and it all comes down to one simple thing: choosing what really matters. Look, you only have a limited amount of energy in your life, a limited number of fucks to give. So if you want to give them to things that are actually important, you'll have to be willing to say no to everything else. No to distractions, no to petty arguments, no to other people's drama. Rejecting the unimportant is what gives the important stuff its meaning. And if you ever need help figuring out what's important, the book gives us the ultimate perspective shifting tool. Nothing makes our values clearer than facing the fact that we're going to die. It just cuts through all the nonsense and forces you to focus on what's truly real. And this isn't supposed to be depressing, it's supposed to be liberating. Knowing your time is finite is the one thing that makes all of your choices matter. It's the ultimate reason to stop giving a fuck about trivial things. And really, that's what it all comes down to. That's the one takeaway that matters. You got this one finite life. So the only question left is, what are you choosing? What really matters to you?